Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and in this video, honestly, I really didn't want to do a video today. Just got my mind on other stuff, but honestly, I do videos to take my mind off of other things that may be going on. What I wanted to do is take you through the setup of a system that a church purchased from me. I'm gonna do some updates and then hopefully be able to get it over to the shipper over to UPS and get it out to them. But I wanted to walk you through the whole setup of everything because I know I try to do more setups, but a lot of questions have came up. So I just want to kind of show you what's going on. So we already have a dedicated live streaming system here that we built based on the same stuff we've been talking about, a Ryzen 5 1600, 16 gigs of memory. I think actually this one has a 1 terabyte NVMe in here. And that's mainly it. And then we have a GT 710 for graphics, which gives us multiple outputs, gives us a DVI output, HDMI output, as well as VGA output. We have a standard HDMI and VGA monitor, keyboard, mouse, wired, ATEM Mini, the base one, and we have a Canon G50. I'm using my tripod right now. They already have some. So this is the full setup. So I want to walk you through connecting everything and getting everything in place so you can get the functionality of this. And hopefully this is probably going to be for the ministry that I'm doing this for. This is for our Lighthouse, and I'll put some more information about that because I want to make sure I get the name properly. Like I said, I wasn't prepared to do a video like this today, but we're going to go ahead and set everything up, and I'm going to take you along and see how everything works. All right, so the very first thing that I really recommend that you do is you get yourself some type of surge protector. This just happened to be the one that I had laying around, the quickest one to get to. Make sure you got your electronics, your computers always inside of a surge protector. Not a power strip, but a surge protector, so that if anything happens, this will take the brunt of anything and it just won't pass all of an electrical strike or anything like that to your system. So I need to plug in the monitor to this as well. All right, so we already have everything set up in here. We have the shell of everything, the software, everything in place, Windows, all this other stuff. Now, this system is going to serve multiple purposes. So I want to show you right now. I am using the VGA because on the back, this graphics card, like I said, has 3 outputs. So because we have a dedicated graphics card, this is where the VGA is coming out, there's the HDMI, and we have one more DVI port. When you have a dedicated card, these do not work, because this is expecting an APU, a CPU that has graphics on the chip. That's why I use the covers to cover that up, because I've had a bunch of people who've gotten systems from me and they've used that and they're like, how come this isn't working? It doesn't work because it's not supposed to. All right, so we are here. And like I said, I have the shell of everything installed. So we have our ATEM software, so we're going to go ahead and allow access to that. And I'm not connected to the internet right now. I need to get a longer Ethernet to do that. We're going to set this up here, and as you can see, nothing is detected because we haven't taken this out the box. This is the base ATEM, so it uses, I can hook it up to a network, but I mean, there's no point in doing this. It's probably going to be connected over USB. That's how we're going to bring this into OBS. So let's go ahead, take this out the box and have this set up. All right, we're powered up. Let's go ahead and connect this. All right, kind of hard to do with one hand. All right, so we're connected. So from here, we should be able to just close this and oh, maybe if I push the cable all the way in. Nothing was showing up, so we went to setup and let's give this access. Okay, now it's detecting. I think the firewall was blocking it. So let's open it back up again. Oh, and we need an update. That would be the reason why it's not detected. So let's go ahead and let this update. I have 8.6, so I guess these are coming out. I got one that still doesn't have the latest firmware on here, so that's fine. And this is something that does not need to be done again unless you download some updates. And I'm not sure any new updates are going to be really added. A lot of the new updates that have been going on have been for the higher models of this. So not exactly sure how that's going to go. And actually, let me get a Ethernet cable and hook this up to the internet here. All right, we're all done and we're connected to the internet, as you hopefully can see. There we go. Our network here is up. And we're gonna change this to program preview. They can always change this. This just means that if I switch to a different source, you're gonna go to a preview before it switches over. They can always change that. So now let's go ahead and launch this. And we got another firewall warning to allow. All right, so now this should be good to go. I'm gonna make a shortcut down here. It's actually already pinned there. Okay, so that's good. All right, so we got this set up. Now with this open, let's close our setup here. Let's open up OBS. And again, this has already been configured with the OBS Complete bundle. So I've changed it to the max settings here, which is 1080p and at 60 frames a second. So what we need to do now is go to streaming. And like I said, I already had the capture device set at the A10 Mini, but I didn't have the A10 Mini until today. So now we're gonna point it to the A10 Mini. And we're gonna use the device defaults. Then we're gonna come down here, choose custom audio, and then set the mic as the ATEM as well. So now that's good. And because this is copied, the same settings exist here. So really nothing has to change. As long as this has stayed connected in the same USB port, for the most part, you should be good to go. All right, so now we got all of this done. Let's go here to our software. We're gonna go to the gear for the ATEM, and we're gonna come up here and we can set our resolution. It's always gonna be 1080p, but you can change the frame rate. So I'm just gonna do this as 60 for right now. Set. Now you might need to change this because it depends. They're gonna do the HDMI out of this going into their projector. That's why we have this HDMI to VGA. This is similar to the one that I have at my church because our projectors are set up the same way. But this is a test. We might have to change that resolution in here, the frame rate, if the projector does not support it. And we'll test out and see what we can do with this. I think I got another VGA cable around here. All right, so all of this is done. And now that I think about it, I don't have our presenter software on here, because I believe they asked for that. worshipextreme.com/presenter. And we're gonna go ahead and download that. Now the good thing is the system is fast enough to handle the stream and run presentation software at the same time. And I would really like to do that, but it does have enough power to do it. All right, so now that we got this straight, we're gonna go ahead and connect the Canon here. Now, the reason we went with a Canon, because this is actually gonna be mounted as a still shot, and we have this little bracket here. That's gonna be screwed into the wall, and then it's gonna mount right here, and it's gonna be kind of like a stationary shot. Put that over in the box over there. And with that, we have this long, about 50 feet of link cable. And we have a link remote to where we can turn this on and off. So this is gonna be mounted up on the wall somewhere. We have this, and we have, actually this is more than is needed. He said it was actually on like 30 feet away. So we got an extension cable. Excuse me, he actually said 15 feet away, excuse me. This is a 15-foot extension cable, HDMI extension, and with this one, the cable that's coming from the camera is 3 feet. So we're under 25 feet, so we should be good. And then link can go a pretty far distance, but I just ended up getting this cable. So this is gonna be able to allow it to turn on and off. You just gotta make sure the camera is in camera mode. And as you can hear, the camera is turned on. Let me take the shield off here. All right, so now that we got that up and running, we're gonna take the end of this HDMI extension cable here and connect it into input number 1 on the ATEM, and we should get an image in OBS. Like I said, this is a little difficult to do one-handed. All right, so we got that. If we switch over, we don't have an image, so we need to see what is going on. Oh, there it goes. I don't know what that is. Maybe the cable was loose. But as you can see, we have a lot of menu stuff that we need to remove. So let's go ahead and slide this over here. Let's make this full screen because we need to turn all this stuff off. All right, now this is going to be interesting. Can we do this like this? So we need to adjust all of this. So where's my menu button? So we're going to go to function. Photo. I need to get the controls so that we can change this. Oh, the menu button is on the back. So let's turn this around. And we're gonna go to the menu button on here. And the remote is there. All right, so now we gotta start turning some stuff off. That's fine. That is fine. That's fine. And that's fine. All right, so that's not a camera setup. Now we're here, our resolution. Honestly, I mean, do you need to do it this high? No, because the ATEM is not gonna pick that up. So we can switch it down to 1080p. And let's change the frame rate to 5994. And recording media, all that, not really my concern. Record command, time code. All of this is not needed. All right. Microphone, I don't believe is needed because we're going to be pulling from the house. I mean, you can turn off sound notifications if you want, but I think that would be good to at least hear when the camera is on. All right. So, and actually, I don't know why I did this. The change that we did here for our camera really has nothing to do, that has to do with the recording. Because the recording is something completely different than the HDMI out. And that's what this is. So we're at 1080p, so that's fine. Output status, let's see what that is. All right, that just confirms. And the color standard we're using is YCC 422. Sometimes that can be important in your settings for your capture card. All right, so from here, nothing is needed so far. Let's go over here. Do we want to output screen displays? No, we don't. And right there, everything went away and everything is now migrated to the screen here. So let's go ahead and update to see if there's anything else. On-screen markers off. Distance, okay, that's fine. Language, time zone. I believe all of this I set up already. Power LED, access, auto power off. I want to turn that off. I want it to stay on until somebody actually turns it off. You have programmable buttons. We're not using that. Not using that, the dial, and that's it. So now, as you can see, we have a clean output. Let's switch this back to me. All right, so now the system is clean. That's what's coming in here on the ATEM. Now, what we're gonna do is I had another cable connected to the system. So this will now make our computer look like we have two displays. And I'm going from the HDMI out of our video card into here. So we had a little bleep. We're gonna hit the Windows key and the letter P. And now you can see we have this and we're extended. All right. So we're going to the desktop, display settings. And you see we have two screens now. Number 2 is what I'm on. Number 1 is the ATEM. So, and my hand is getting tired. I need a tripod. All right, I am tripoded up. So now I can free my hands, hopefully. All right, so we have our two displays now, and maybe I can move it this way. That's still too far away. Oh well. Have to just let it sit right here. All right, so we have our two displays here, and I can't go into Presenter because I need their email to set up everything. Maybe I'll log into mine, give an example of it, but let's go ahead and install that. Now, one thing when you're running dual screens, like if I switched over to the second screen by just hitting this, and see this is the preview mode that we're set up in. As you can see, we have this taskbar. I want to get rid of that. How you do that, just right click, go to taskbar settings, and I want to scroll down, and I do not want to show a taskbar on multiple displays. So we're going to turn that off. So now, as you can see, we have a clean output on the second monitor. We want that because if we were presenting anything, that taskbar would still be there. All right, let's pick our language. Now I'm gonna log in real quick. All right, we're logged in, and they changed the layout a little bit more too. All right, so what I'm gonna do is go to our settings. Now these settings are only gonna be for me right now, but we wanna make sure we got some stuff straight. So we're gonna be at 16:9, our output, that's the default slide. We go to our screen configuration, our main output. I'm now gonna pick that second monitor, which is the ATEM. All right. Got that saved. And that's mainly it. So let me go over to my, I'll do Q&A. And then I'm just gonna bring this up here, and it's downloading everything. So there's my preview. We are going to start presentation. So now, there you see, that's what's coming up on the second screen. Now, I don't have the Bible installed on here. I need to change the Bible that I have because this is missing. I am using New King James. So we come over here to Bibles, and thankfully the new update actually has that. It should have had everything synced. I don't know. Oh well, we got it there, and let's do American Standard as well. All right, we're gonna come back over here. We're gonna edit our Bible. We have the Bible, so why is that not working for me? All right, there we go. Now we're gonna change this to, I don't know, James 1. We set our full screen. We got all this, and we are using the background. We're gonna hide the reference, and we're gonna search. Got it. Launch, and now we got our scripture. So now if we come over here, as you can see, let me set this to always on top so you'll be able to see this change while we're doing this. So now when I'm going and changing scriptures, it's sending it to the second screen, which is what number 2 is on the ATEM. All right, so you don't have to change anything in the ATEM. It's just gonna be taking whatever source that you're picking from the ATEM. So if I went to number 1, as you can see, we're back to me. But then if I go to number 2, we're gonna go right back to our scripture. Cool. Now, say you want to have both of these integrated on top of each other, kind of like scripture over top. So I'm gonna walk you through that again. First, you need to make sure you have no background. And let's pick our scripture. Go back to King James. I already had a template for lower third. You need to create that. And we're just gonna do Psalms 100. 100. Search. All right, so we got it here. So now if we launch, as you can see, this is how it is. So if we go back to the ATEM and we change our source, you see that's all we get. And actually I need to change something because it said to inherit the background, which I didn't want to do. I want to uncheck that and say none. Now that's better. And now if we switch back to number 2, see now we have nothing in the background, and that's good. So with all that set, we're gonna switch back to me. I'm gonna minimize this. Actually, we need to keep that up so we can see what we're doing. Slide this over a little bit. We're gonna go here to our ATEM software, and we're gonna set our DSK, our downstream keyer. That's right here under platelets, downstream keyer. What is our source? It's gonna be camera input 2, camera 2, or input number 2, as well as our key is number 2. So now, if we just turn on the DSK, there's our scripture over top of live video that's done inside the software. This is all dependent on you send nothing as your background, because the instant you come in here and make a change or something like that for your background, so let's say I just pick this as my background and the DSK is still on, and I guess my background is so close to black that it's fine. Oh, there you go. You see, you start seeing those lines and stuff like that because it's erasing the black and the grays and everything are still in place. That's why you need to make sure if you do this, no matter what presentation software that you use, that there is no background. And that's how it went away, just like that. So pretty much in OBS, this will give you your starting, and I need to restart because we've already used enough time. This will be going on. They're updating the name, pick whatever background that they want, go to settings, to streaming, and then now you're here. Now, the sad thing is there is no DSK button on the ATEM. So you would have to do this in software, but that right now, once it's set up, that's it. And now that I got it, let me go ahead and save this as well too. Save as, and I'm gonna do this on the documents and do today's date. Save everything. And then we're also gonna do save startup state. So all of this should come right back once they power it on. All right, so all of this is good so far. Now, I don't have access to their sound system. So the next thing you would do is come down here to the gear, go to audio, general. And if you're coming from a sound system, whether it's mic input 2 or 1, change it to line. The only reason why you would want to have a microphone is if you're plugging a microphone directly into the back of here. If you're coming from a sound system, switch it to line. So I'm just gonna adjust it to line for right now. And I should have did that before I saved my startup state and everything, as well as my backup. All right, so now this is set up as if audio is gonna come in from the sound mixer and it's gonna go that way. So everything right there is good so far. Now, one thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna test to see if this will work, and it should, but the issue is I am not sure if their projectors can support it. So the basis is we were using this right now, but if it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to get them an HDMI to VGA scaler. That's the same thing I have at my church because our projectors don't support 1080p. They start acting up. They don't even support 720p, so I have to do some type of hybrid in the middle for that to work. So what I'm gonna do is disconnect the VGA from this and then just connect it. And I just wanna see, do I get an image? Because at least I'll know that this works. All right, and there we go. Let me switch over. As you can see, we're coming from the HDMI out. There is no multi-view on this version, so it's just a clean HDMI out. HDMI to the converter. I am using the VGA connector, which is connected here. And boom, there we go. So this will work as long as their projector supports 1080p. That converter will work. It's able to pull enough power so you don't need it external, but you always could plug external power into it if you needed to. But this works fine. So that's it. I'm gonna disconnect everything and hook it back up, and then we'll go from there, see what else we got left. All right, as you can see, we're back. I need to log out of my stuff, and when they come in, they need to set up their own account for their software. I think for the most part, I think that's everything. I like to make shortcuts down here to go to their software. Oh, and I need to turn off that always because I'll messing people up with that. Also, let's see, setup. We are using software because it's using the CPU for that. Should be fine. And then I'm using the encoder off of the GT710 for recording if need be. Audio, everything is disabled. Advanced, don't really mess with. And we're set to base and output at 1080p at 60 frames a second. And for the most part, I think we're done. Obviously, they got to test this again when you're actually physically at the church. to get a speed test and all this other stuff, you might want to dial those settings in. 2500 is the lowest that you would really want to do for your live stream. I mean, you could go to 15, but I mean, 2500 should be fine. But again, that's all dependent on their internet connection. And I think that's it. Because we got the ATEM set up, they're going to need to go and set up their own presenter account. So I can't set up their templates and stuff like that, but we have plenty of videos to where we talk about that. Like I said, we got everything set up here. Go here to our remote here that is connected through all this long cable, so we know it works. And there we go. Now we're off. And the good thing I like with this one is you don't have to keep this screen open. You can keep it closed if you want. Me at my church, I actually have it flipped like this and closed this way so I can walk by and easily see if it's on or off, but that is their choice. And I think that's mainly it. So that's setting up a full system. Most of the time, I only have the streaming system, but in this case, we have camera, we have ATEM, and we're doing all that, and hopefully that fills in the gaps. Let me know if you have any other questions, and just being honest, I'm probably not going to be really responding to a lot of stuff until maybe about like Monday. Just got a lot of personal stuff that I'm working through right now, so I'm not ignoring you on purpose. I just got a lot of stuff going on, and hopefully things will be back to normal around like Monday, something like that. But if you like this type of content, I appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. This is AJ, folks. We'll see you on the next video. Later.